so you can definitely watch it and review it later. But welcome to our webinar on how to boost lead generation with Clutch sponsorship. My name is Ben Dobkin. I'll kind of be your host. See me here at the beginning and then again at the end for our Q&A section. And I'll go without further ado, introduce you our real panelists. Today we'll be joined by Ethan Lutz, a senior revenue operations analyst, here at Clutch, and Aaron Morales, a revenue operations manager. They'll both work with hundreds of sponsors on a daily basis to help them increase their lead generation and get the most out of their packages. They work with our over 85 different services across the site. So they have a lot of different experience dealing with different types of companies and helping them drive their advertising on different types of pages, both local and global. And they each personally manage 350 plus sponsors. So they are dealing with these problems daily and have a great presentation for you today to kind of go over everything that you need to know to get started. So exactly what that presentation will be a brief overview of who our audience is and who is coming to Clutch generally, give you a deeper dive into how sponsorship works and kind of how our payment table works and what you can get out of it. Then we'll talk about some added benefits, including verification and lead matching, give you some advice on next steps to take and some ways to go about achieving those. And then of course, we'll wrap up with Q&A. Please don't hesitate to throw any questions in the Q&A section throughout the chat. We will probably answer some of them as we're going, and we'll definitely mark those, but don't want you to forget them during the presentation. We'll definitely cycle back to them at the end. If there is anything more company specific, feel free to throw that in too. We might not address it during the webinar, but we'll definitely follow up with you later to be able to give you the best answer possible. But without further ado, I'll turn it over to Aaron to get us started.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for the introduction, Ben, and thank you everyone for making time out of your busy schedule to join us. If you're a company that is interested in sponsoring for the first time, this webinar will help give you a general idea of how the model works and also why companies choose to sign up for our paid offerings. If you're a sponsor who is new to sponsorship or needed a refresher about your options, hope that this webinar is going to help answer your questions. As Ben mentioned, we encourage you to ask questions using the Q&A chat function throughout the presentation. And if we don't get to your questions throughout the presentation, Ethan, myself, and our team will go ahead and send a follow-up email answering the questions that you have as well. So I thought a really good starting point for our presentation today is to talk about how much traffic we get to Clutch. Over the last 30 days, Clutch has seen 700,000 unique visitors. And if you're not familiar with our sister site, The Manifest also features companies that have a Clutch profile in a different format. And The Manifest is now seeing over 200,000 unique monthly visitors. We are a global platform, so we see traffic from all over the world, but our main audience is from the US, India, and UK and Canada. We also see traffic from Eastern Europe, Latin America, and Western Europe. And by being listed on Clutch, we are helping companies build connections and trust with over 700,000 prospective buyers who are ready for the next step and are looking to partner with a service provider. So you might be wondering, how do we attract all that traffic? How are 700,000 unique monthly visitors finding us? Over 70% of Clutch's traffic and the Manifest traffic is going to be a result of organic search from buyers who are looking to work and partner with a Clutch service provider. A buyer is going to go ahead and type into search a key term related to the services that your company offers and the services that they need. And Clutch and the Manifest appear as a first organic search result. If we take a look at this example on the screen together, the buyer went ahead and typed into Google PPC companies, but they could also type similar keywords like pay-per-click companies. And you'll find that our Clutch directory is featured at the very top, features the top pay-per-click companies. And we also happen to capture the featured snippet on this particular set of keywords. And then right below it, you'll notice that our sister site, The Manifest, also helps capture that buyer audience as it's the second organic result on Google. And this is going to be replicated across a majority of other services that are covered on Clutch, in particular, mobile app development and advertising agencies. Those pages that we have on Clutch see significant traffic. And you'll also notice that we are also ranking pretty highly for more niche keywords like Node.js developers and even small business web design companies. And it's important to note that the majority of those monthly searches are going to be from buyers that are looking for a company that offers those services. And up until this point, you're featured on these directories for free with your free profile. You're on local and global directories across both Clutch and the Manifest, and these set of directories see a specific unique audience every month. As mentioned, that visibility that you're getting has been a result of the great reviews that you have collected on your profile. As you've heard from teammates at Clutch and your account managers, the more reviews that you collect, the higher that you'll appear on our organic sort. And that visibility that you're getting right now is helping drive more profile views and more traffic to your website. And that visibility and traffic is going to start converting into leads. So the presentation today will be focused on how to enhance that visibility and what you could do to get even more traffic from Clutch. So if you're looking to get more exposure on Clutch than what you're getting with your free profile, you can choose to sign up for Clutch sponsorship. So what is sponsorship? Sponsorship is our native advertising option that helps increase your company's visibility and online presence on Clutch. It'll go ahead and help drive more profile and websites visits and expose your company to our monthly audience looking to work and partner with a Clutch service provider. And Ben, if you go to the next slide. One of the reasons why companies choose to sponsor is because all of our directory pages are sorted by sponsored first, as highlighted by the red box around the filtered sort. In this particular example, the company at the top of the London UX design directory is sponsoring the page and is featured at the top of the page as indicated by the sponsor flag that's also highlighted in the red box. And this sponsor flag gets added when you sign up for sponsorship. So that's how you know that a company has signed up for our paid advertising options. So what is the cost of sponsorship? I know that our sponsorship page might be a little bit overwhelming with a lot of different price points. But in summary, pricing will be varying by company size and by the tier that you select. And one important note that I wanted to make during this webinar is that each sponsorship will be placed on one directory and will only increase your visibility on the directory that you have chosen. Let's say that you are a company based in the UK that's trying to drive more traffic to your website and to your profile across both UX and across web design. You would need to sign up for 2 sponsorships to increase your visibility on both the UX UK directory as well as the the Web Design UK directory to see that increase in visibility on those 2 pages. As a company who's not familiar with sponsorship, a great starting point for companies is to start off with the starter, the bronze, or the silver option. And when you sign up for these sponsorship tiers, they're going to renew on a subscription basis. All of the sponsorship tiers will renew monthly on the day that your sponsorship goes live. The only exception to that rule is our starter sponsorship option. And the reason we have that is we found that new sponsors that spend less over a longer period are more successful than new sponsors that spend more over a shorter period of time. So to encourage that approach and to help you find new business on Clutch, our most affordable level of sponsorship requires that 3-month commitment. And then it's also important to note that more sophisticated buyers can sometimes take more than a few days or a few weeks to create the shortlist, consult with their teams on their options, and then reach out to you after they found you on Clutch. So it's important that someone who did find you were to be able to still find you if they were to come back to that page. So now that you've selected a sponsorship level, where will your company be displayed? Placement is going to be dependent on a few factors. The first being it'll be dependent on the number of sponsors in the directory. Some directories that see significant traffic will have more sponsors and will be more competitive. I'm looking at our mobile app development categories, web development, software development, some of those sponsorships. Some of those tiers needed to be on the first page of result might be needed to be silver or higher. But it's important to note that not every directory will require that high level of sponsorship. The second point I wanted to make today is companies with a higher sponsorship level will always show up above companies with a lower tier. For example, on the screen, we see gold sponsors are going to always show up above companies that have placed a silver sponsorship on a directory, and silver sponsors will always show up above bronze sponsors, and so on. And then the third point, companies that are placed within same tier will be displayed with other companies that have been paying the same amount of money and have the same tier. In this example on the slide, our silver sponsors will be placed alongside other silver sponsors, and placement within a sponsorship tier will be determined by our rating algorithm that takes into consideration review count and review recency amongst many factors. So as you sponsor, or if you're a current sponsor, we encourage you to continue submitting those reviews. Those reviews are going to help show buyers your new work, but also will help maintain and improve your standing on pages that you're sponsoring. And the last point I wanted to make is that placement is dynamic and can change as higher tier sponsors enter the picture on a less competitive directory. But if you were to ever notice that your position fell for whatever reason, feel free to reach out to our team and we'll be able to let you know what sponsorship level is required to be featured at the top of that directory. I wanted to go over an example together. This page, Top Web Designers page in Canada, has 3 companies that are sponsoring. The company at the very top of the directory has signed up for a silver sponsorship. They're paying anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500. As a reminder, that's going to be varying by cost. The company in the middle of the directory has signed up for a bronze sponsorship, paying anywhere between $500 to $750 per month. And that company at the bottom of the directory has signed up for a starter sponsorship. They're paying anywhere between $450 to $1,050. And this sponsorship level does renew every 3 months. And that's because we do have that commitment.
Great, thanks Aaron for the great summary of just the sponsorship basics. I quickly also wanted to touch base on which pages you as a company on Clutch are eligible to sponsor. So going into the next slide, you can see that by showcasing the services your company offers, you're pulled into our directory pages related to those services. For example, if you added a mobile app development service line to your profile, you'll be added to our app development directories, both organically and via sponsorship. Similarly, if you added a content marketing service line, you'd be added to our content marketing directory. In this slide, you'll see that the services that are going to feature the company are going to be mobile app development, web development, and custom software development. Going deeper into your profile, if we move on to the next slide, you'll also be able to add focus areas related to your broader services. For example, if you're a software developer, this could mean adding a .NET sub-focus to your profile. Similarly, for a social media marketing company, this could be adding a Facebook or an Instagram advertising focus. This will include your company in some more of our niche pages, increasing the likelihood that someone may find you on Clutch. We also do have location-specific pages on Clutch as well that are determined by your office locations listed on Clutch. You'll be able to list on your local listings, country-specific listings, and global directories as well. So it's important to make sure you have your locations added where your company has a physical office location in that spot. In this example here, you'll see we have an agency based out of Victoria, Canada. They'd be listed in our local Victoria pages, as well as our Canadian pages and our global directories. Our team does curate this information, and inclusion on local pages requires companies to have a significant presence there. As you may expect, companies or directories that are more local or more niche may have just a bit less competition in terms of other sponsors on the page. And then one point that Aaron made that I just want to reiterate is that about 70 to 80% of our total site traffic comes in organically through Google and other search engines. With this said, we encourage companies that sponsor categories to do a bit of their own keyword research to make sure that the page you're sponsoring is consistent with your strategic goals. For example, if you're a company that's a branding firm in the United Kingdom and you're looking to kind of dominate this keyword right here, you might want to take a look and see if Clutch is ranking on the first page of results, which in this case it is. And that could be a good signal to you and your team that this is going to be a page that could drive you significant traffic and leads your way.
So while your sponsorship remains active, you'll notice an increase in traffic to both your profile and your website. And we just wanted to share some tools that are in place for you to track that performance after you have become a sponsor. The first tool available to companies, and it's actually available to all profiles on Clutch, is our vendor dashboard. The dashboard does display a status of a review. So if you've been submitting references and are looking for more insight into where that is in the review pipeline, take a look at that dashboard to see where that is in that pipeline. Also, it does display all your reviews, so you'll be able to see them without having to go into your Clutch profile. But the most important section that's going to help a sponsor see the value of their sponsorship is going to be the statistics section of the dashboard. You'll notice that we'll give you a directional view of your analytics. We'll summary the number of profile views and click-throughs that you've gotten over the last 30 days, and we'll also compare that to the previous period. And you'll notice that that number will be going up as the sponsorship gives you that enhanced visibility on the page that you have selected. At the moment, we are only displaying the top 3 sources of traffic, and you'll notice that the sponsors pages will most likely appear as those top 3 sources. Our team is looking to make some improvements to this dashboard that will be available soon. Soon you'll be able to see click-throughs from not only the pages that you're featured on that you might not be sponsoring, but all of the pages that you're sponsoring, as well as more look into your profile views and where they're coming from as well. So we're excited to launch that soon, and when that happens, we'll be sending an email to our companies on Clutch. We go a step above and beyond to help you track the traffic that you're getting from Clutch. Once you sign up for sponsorship, our team places a unique UTM that will be placed on the visit website button of the page that you're sponsoring. So a user who lands on the page that you're sponsoring will click on that visit website button to exit to your site, and this unique URL will only be found on that page that you're sponsoring. If you would like our team to direct traffic to a more customized landing page, we could also do that. We actually encourage companies to let us know if that's something that they'd like to do. Let's say you're a company who has a software development focus and artificial intelligence focuses as well. You can choose to direct traffic to your artificial intelligence landing page, and we could direct your traffic from your custom software development sponsorship to the software development landing page within your site. And that could also help you with conversions. For current sponsors on the call right now, I wanted to just quickly touch base on how you would find that the click-throughs using Google Analytics. If you were to navigate to your Google Analytics suite, where you track all of your referral traffic, not just from Clutch, and go to the acquisition section, the campaigns, and then all campaigns, you should find a few Clutch directories as well as Clutch URLs that match the exact page that you're sponsoring. And if you are having trouble tracking that performance, as always, feel free to reach out to sponsorship@Clutch.co. And myself, Ethan, and our sponsorship team are more than happy to make sure that you're tracking those analytics correctly. We also encourage all companies to add a Google Analytics tracking ID code to the back end of your profile. Adding this code will allow you to get more insight on your profile views. You'll be able to see real-time information about the number of users on your profile. And we'll also get additional insights on the locations where your visitors are coming from. So now that you're getting qualified traffic from the page that you're sponsoring, how are leads going to contact you? The top 3 ways that a lead will contact you are going to be one, from the company built-in contact form that we have on Clutch. A visitor will be able to fill in that form and send it to you. That notification will be sent to your sales email address. So make sure that the sales email address in the back end of your profile is a working email address so that your team could receive those notifications and you could answer that request. We've heard from a lot of our sponsors that buyers are also going to give you a call after they have read some of your reviews on your profile. So it's also important to note that there should be a working number displayed there. That way, if someone picks up the phone and gives you a call, they'll be able to touch base with someone on your team. And then the most important and probably the most common way that a lead will be contacting you after they have found you on Clutch is through your website. So a visitor will go ahead and go into your profile, go into the page that you're sponsoring, click that visit website button, and they'll be able to go into your site to learn a little bit more about your company. They'll go through your services that you offer, read through your case studies, and then they'll fill out the contact us form directly from your website. Since the majority of the leads that you're going to be getting are going to be through your own site, we just wanted to share some helpful tips on how to create landing pages that convert. So the first tip, call to action buttons are the most important aspect of any successful landing page. At the end of the day, you want the landing page's visitors to click that CTA button and convert into customers for your company. Some components of a successful CTA include colors, making sure that they align to the rest of the landing page, but also making them more visible to entice those potential customers and buyers that are coming to your site from Clutch. You could also use different graphics like shapes to make the CTA look more eye-catching. And the position of the CTA is going to be really important. We want to make sure that it's visible for potential buyers who are browsing your site to be able to fill in that contact us form. And then another tip that we have is just making sure that there's multiple methods of contact within your website, including your email addresses, your phone numbers, as well as a physical location, helps strengthen your legitimacy for users who are unfamiliar with your brand. And also, we've noticed a lot of successful landing pages from our sponsors have a chatbot. So having that real-time assistance for someone that lands on your site could also help capture more of that qualified traffic that we're sending to your site. And then the last point that I wanted to highlight was just highlighting your credibility on your landing page. We found a study from HubSpot that about 71% of millennials are more likely to prefer a brand if it's recommended online. So highlighting your work on your landing page provides that social proof and helps buyers make those informed decisions. So if you're not familiar with our widget options, our widgets are free and can be a really great option to add to your landing page. It will help buyers recognize that they're also interacting with a company that is found on Clutch, and they'll be able to see and read those case studies. You could add a widget that displays your full reviews, and that widget will go ahead and update those reviews as you add more reviews on Clutch. You could also choose to add a smaller widget at the footer of your website, and that should also help increase the number of conversions that you're seeing from Clutch.
Great. Up until this point, we've mainly discussed kind of the main benefit of sponsorship, which is increased visibility on a page of your choosing. Just want to get into a couple other benefits, including our verification program, as well as our lead matching program. So to start off, profile verification. Verification is a benefit of all Clutch's paid options. Verification adds a layer of trust and credibility to the information we provide to prospective buyers on the site who are trying to determine which are the best service providers to hire. We're giving them more information and more confidence in their research as they use Clutch to create their shortlist. Essentially, our verification will add published business registration and payment and legal filings data to your profile. You can tell if a company is verified by the check mark and red text seen here on the profile, as well as on all directories for which they appear. Companies with verification are sorted above companies without verification, and that's something we'll discuss more in a couple slides. So the process of how a company becomes a paid profile with verification, you'll be able to submit a form including your business registration information to confirm your legal entity is registered and active. This is verification step 1 and will lead to your bronze verification within 1 to 2 business days. For US companies, registration is confirmed through each state's Secretary of State website. And for international companies, you'll upload your registration certificate with the completion of your form. For companies with multiple offices, I know there are a lot of companies that have multiple locations. It is best to use your headquarters entity, as this has the most relevant information for our verification form. Verification also includes what we call our Clutch credit check. Payment and legal filings data are compiled from consumer credit reporting agencies like Experian and CreditSafe to confirm the company is in good standing and has no derogatory significant credit marks. Nothing is needed from the company's end at this point, although this process can take up to a few weeks to complete. And then just going into a little bit more information on the verified sort. If you aren't ready to jump into one of our other paid options or are new to the platform, verification is a great way to start increasing visibility and seeing more leads through the program. Basically, companies with verification are sorted above companies without verification. And this is true across all directories for which you organically appear. So you can see the slide here, company A is verified, and because of that, they are outranking company B on the directory. Verification sort can be especially useful for some pages that might not have as many other sponsors or verified companies. I know I had a slide earlier that discussed kind of more the local pages, and specifically on local pages that may not have other sponsors, verification can be a great first step. Another benefit of kind of Clutch paid offerings is our lead matching program. Clutch's lead matching program matches prospective leads with sponsored and premium service providers. It's an added benefit to your paid profile and an opportunity to win leads that otherwise may not have come to your profile. We evaluate leads based on project requirements like budget, location, timeline, and basically all projects are vetted over the phone by a member of our team, and then we match them to you. So just kind of going back to a view of the directory on the next slide, you'll see that this is kind of how companies find the buyers find the lead matching program. While a majority of buyers will either visit company A's profile here or visit the website button, we do have an option to select a free consultation in case that the lead needs help selecting a company. From there, the buyer is prompted to schedule a phone call with the Clutch analyst. And then in terms of our matching process, each prospective lead we send out for bidding talks directly to a Clutch analyst on the phone to explain their project. If we go to the next slide, we'll just show how our internal tool analyzes your profile to help make the matches. So this is a really important piece because it's important that you keep your profile up to date with the most relevant services and minimum project size. So you're only receiving leads for which you align with and are good offerings based on your services. Our matching methodology does not take into account the level of sponsorship or the verification level, and you're opted into this program once you become a paying member of Clutch. For our bidding, we operate using a blind bidding process. So a bid represents the amount or the value that you're willing to pay to get the lead's contact information. In other words, this is what you're willing to pay for the contact, not what you're willing to complete the project for. The minimum bid is $50, and we connect with up to the 4 highest companies. The last step is a warm email introduction between the company on Clutch and the lead. The leads have been prepped to expect an email from you, and in our warm introduction, we'll also include a link to your Clutch profile so that the lead can do a little bit more due diligence and read a little bit more in case you have any relevant reviews that relate to their project. Just in terms of maximizing your profile for the lead matching program, I touched on this a bit, but just definitely making sure that you align your service areas. So if you're a web design company and you're looking for web design leads, important to just have web design as a service on your Clutch profile. Other things to keep in mind would be your focuses, your budget, having at least as many reviews as possible, preferably at least 5 client reviews, and completing profile verification on Clutch. And then just to wrap up the lead matching, I just had a couple logistical points about kind of the success that the program has seen. So we see over 500 inbound leads come through each month through this program. From there, we go through our own qualification process and match leads with agencies on Clutch. Our team really wants to work together with you as service providers to make sure you're seeing results and positive opportunities. The types of projects and budgets vary each week and month, but some of our most commonly requested services are development, whether that's app or web development, digital marketing, and branding projects. And then we just have one slide here that I just wanted to showcase some of the leads that we've worked with in the past. We've worked with a number of nonprofits like the Special Olympics, universities like Yale University, and even for-profit companies like eBay and MasterCard. And then we've kind of touched upon this or alluded to it up until this point in this additional benefit run through, but Clutch does have a more affordable paid option outside of sponsorship called our premium profile. Premium profiles vary in price based on the size of the company, but are typically between $100 and $300 per month. A premium profile will allow you access to premium customer service, prioritize review processing time, our lead matching program, and Clutch verification, which again takes into account our Clutch verified sort on the directories. Note that sponsorship also includes all these benefits, plus the benefit of prioritized listing on a page of your choosing.
Yeah, thanks, Ethan, for going over those additional benefits of sponsorship. As mentioned, there is a lot of different options available to your company to take advantage of sponsorship. If you go to the next slide, Ben, we encourage all companies on Clutch to schedule a 10 to 15-minute consultation with either myself, Ethan, or a member of our sponsorship team, just to give you an idea of what those look like. We go ahead and get to know a little bit more about your business. We're trying to find where you're trying to drive more traffic to, so that you can start getting the leads that you're looking to get from Clutch. So if you're looking to advertise with mobile app development categories, we'll provide that information to you via email as well. After we've gathered those goals and requirements, as well as your budget, we provide you with those recommendations. So we'll send it in a digestible format to you via email, where we'll highlight the total traffic to that page over the last 30 days and where your company will be positioned with each different sponsorship tier. And then from there, we'll be able to get that set up for you after you decide and consult with your internal team what sponsorship level will work best for your company. And we know that your time is valuable, so if you don't have 10 to 15 minutes to discuss, our team is always available to answer your request. If you just email sponsorship@clutch.co, our team will be able to provide those same recommendations via email, just letting us know the services that you're looking to highlight. And better yet, if you know which pages you'd like to sponsor, we're happy to provide that data for you via email. And if you're a company that chose to sign up for this webinar to get a little bit more understanding, but you have a general idea of where you want to place that sponsorship, it's pretty simple to submit payment. If you were to navigate to the footer of our site, you'll notice a sponsorship section. Click on that sponsorship link, and then that'll direct you to our payment form. It'll prompt you to it'll prompt you for your company size. And then from there, you get to select the sponsorship tier that you would like to place on that page. So once you're on that payment form, it's going to ask you to enter the URL of the directory that you would like to sponsor. So if you're interested in sponsoring our branding page in the UK, you would enter the exact URL of that page as you found it. And then once that payment does get submitted, our team receives an internal notification. We'll go ahead and place that sponsorship and place those unique tracking parameters that will allow you to track the total traffic that you're getting from the page that you're sponsoring and from other pages on Clutch that you're being featured on. Once we place your sponsorship, we'll go ahead and confirm with you via email, let you know when your sponsorship will renew for the next period, and then also start the verification process. So you'll receive a form that will ask for business registration information, and that will go ahead and begin the process to start getting that set up so that we could verify your company to be either bronze, silver, or gold verified. And if you experience any trouble or any issues, please contact sponsorship@clutch.co, and our team will go ahead and help troubleshoot and provide you with alternate forms of payment if the form isn't working for you.
Cool. Thank you, Aaron and Ethan. As we mentioned at the beginning, we're going to just dive into a bit of a question and answer period. We might use the slides as some helpful resources as we answer. And I know we already got a number of questions, but if you do have other questions, please keep them coming. We have some time wrapping up here, so definitely happy to answer any more general questions. I think this first question by Yuri, thank you, Yuri, for attending, was about, can we get more analytics on where visitors of our company profile come from? For example, like if you sponsor cloud consultants, where are the visitors coming from that? Or are they coming from the leaders matrix page versus the sponsored placement? I don't know if Aaron, you want to touch on more of this in regards to the vendor dashboard?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So right now we are limited to just giving you a total count of unique visitors that are clicking to your profile. Our team is working hard to provide that vendor dashboard that's going to help you see where those profile views are coming from, what directories, as well as a more directional look into the number of click-throughs that you're receiving from other pages that you're featured on that you're not sponsoring. In the meantime, we're happy to add those tracking parameters so that you could track how many click-throughs you're getting from the pages that you're sponsoring.
I think we have a couple of related questions if you want to kind of continue on that thread about what is a UTM and can people pool this information into other dashboards that they have?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'm not super familiar with UTMs aside from them being an urchin tracking module is what they call it online. But what the UTM does is it helps us make sure that that URL that we're directing traffic to from your sponsorship is directed to a URL that could only be found on that page that you're sponsoring. So by adding those tracking parameters, it allows Google to let you know how many views you've gotten from that specific visit website button. And you'll be able to track this using Google Analytics. So if you were to go to your Google Analytics suite, there you'll find sources of traffic from not just Clutch, but from all other paid advertising channels that you might be using. The tracking parameters will show up, and we've structured them in a way for them to show up as the URL, the page that you're sponsoring. So that'll tell you exactly how many click-throughs you've gotten since you started your sponsorship and since those UTMs went live. And in this follow-up to this question, we're happy to provide the audience here with just a few more additional readings on how to best track your click-through sources.
Sure. And I'm just going to jump in here. I saw another follow-up question on this topic from Dimitro. He asked one more question: can we use different UTM parameters for different pages? And the answer to that is yes, we do have the capability. If you're sponsoring multiple pages, let's say you're sponsoring a web development page and an app development page, we can definitely create separate UTMs for those separate pages. So you can compare the click-throughs that you're getting from each page and just analyze which pages are performing better for you.
Awesome, thank you both. Karen, we got a few questions from you related mostly to kind of like organic ranking. I'll just quickly answer that. Kind of asked a question about what should we focus on for boosting your ranking: recency reviews, quality reviews, or quantity reviews. In truth, all three matter. Those are going to help you kind of if you and a competitor are both bronze sponsors, like your organic rank is what's going to determine who ranks higher. Making sure that you have like a good base of reviews. I think most sponsors will have at least 10 to 20 reviews to really like showcase their work. And then continuing getting those reviews regularly is going to be a good place to start. And then of course, making sure every review is quality will continue to help answer that.
One more point on the reviews. I think one other thing that I often advise new sponsors to consider is if you're considering multiple pages for sponsorship, also just comparing the reviews that you have on that specific page to the reviews that your competitors on that page have. Specifically, if you're looking for more local pages, there may be pages that, or more niche pages, there may be pages that your competitors have less reviews, and just important to kind of stack up against your competitors, from the same lens that a buyer might be viewing the same page.
Exactly, and if I'll just add to Ben that, yeah, those sophisticated buyers are looking at your reviews. They're analyzing to see who they want to work with. So having more reviews on your profile will definitely make you stand out. And those users are going to start clicking on your profile to read those reviews. It's important that there is some recent content there to make sure that they know that you are still a working company and they'll be able to access those recent projects. And then having those great reviews will also help influence the number of click-throughs that you're going to be getting from Clutch to your website.
Awesome. Thank you both for expanding on that. We have a question from Jim here about kind of how companies most likely are to reach out to vendor profiles in terms of whether they'll call or use the contact form. Aaron, I don't know if you have further insight on this, or Ethan.
Yeah. So the majority of the contact forms will be submitted through your website. So we're going to be directing qualified traffic to your site from your profile or from the page that you're sponsoring. We don't have exact statistics of how many click-throughs you can expect from each of the different positions available, but we've seen that the top company in each directory sees anywhere from 7 to 10% of unique click-throughs coming to your site from that top position on that directory. But it's also important to note that click-throughs are influenced by a variety of factors, and that's only directional information. Click-throughs can be influenced by your review count. It could be influenced by your star rating, and it could also be influenced by the locations of where your company is based in.
Awesome. Thank you. And then we have this question from Sierra about any suggestions for businesses that have a lot of locations in terms of beyond just like kind of doing keyword searches, if there's a best way, whether like kind of, I guess, a highly targeted approach or a more breadth approach would be most appropriate. Ethan, you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. This may not be the greatest answer to answer your question immediately, but I think that's something a little bit more nuanced that we can definitely leverage the team here at Clutch's info kind of knowledge on that topic right now. So if we'll send you an email and a follow-up, but we'd love to just kind of hear which locations you're most interested in kind of advertising. And then from there, we can definitely share some more data with you in terms of the amount of traffic that those locations are getting. I think the traffic that the pages are getting compared to the amount of other sponsors in the page is often a pretty easy way to determine which pages are most ripe for sponsorship. So we'll definitely follow up with you to see which locations may be the best fit and provide more information there.
Exactly. And then just to that point, Ethan, right, we are happy to provide this information to anyone who's attending the webinar, but at any point in time, just email sponsorship@Clutch.co. And we'll go ahead and analyze your profile to see the pages that you're currently being placed on, as well as the locations. And based on the information that we have, we'll be able to send you all those options that's going to result in a great click-through rate from those pages, and we'll start turning into qualified leads as well. So definitely continue the conversation. Always feel free to reach out to our team.
I know we also got this question a bit ago from Vidmante. Might have a similar answer in terms of, is it a better sponsorship tactic to choose a page with a high number of unique visitors, knowing you'll get a lower ranking, or choose a page with a lower number of unique visitors with a higher ranking?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. And it's going to, as I mentioned, be determined by a variety of factors and who that buyer is. The more that you are at the very top of the page, the more likelihood that that unique audience is going to be able to find your company. By being at the top of the page, you'll be able to attract that qualified traffic and that more sophisticated buyer that might not be scrolling all the way down to the first page of results, to the bottom of the first page of results and into the second. So our team will also be happy to let you know how much traffic the second page of results sees. That way you could also see what that traffic looks like. In my experience, I think being near the top of page gives you that maximum visibility, and that's going to be helping attribute more qualified traffic to your website and to your profile.
Awesome. And then I know we have a few more questions here. A few of them are a little bit more specific. I know Marcin asked about how to learn what is competition on particular segments. In other words, how to learn how many companies pay sponsorship and on which level. I think doing some research around our directory and doing some keyword research, as Aaron and Ethan both mentioned earlier, can really help build that. And if Ethan, you have more to add.
I'll jump in there. We'll also make a note to follow up with Marcin directly, specifically sending along kind of a projection of basically where you would rank on each page with each level of sponsorship. That'll hopefully allow you to see what the competition on your desired directories are.
And I think another quick question we can answer is, for the Google Analytics, do you have to create a new tracking ID for the Clutch profile, or do you use the same ID that is being used for your website? I believe it's a new one, but correct me.
Yeah, so there's two ways to track click-throughs from Clutch. If you want to track specific profile views, you would need to add a new UA code to the back end of your profile. That's going to give you a real-time look of how many profile views you're getting, as well as where those locations are, where those buyers and click-throughs are coming from. But for the click-throughs, that's going to be within your existing Google Analytics ID. You'll be able to track the traffic that you're seeing from not only Clutch, but from all of your sources. And then I'll go ahead and send a follow-up email to you just to make sure that we could screen share together and see that you're attributing those click-throughs properly, and to make sure that they're working. And if they're not, we're happy to adjust on our end to make sure that you're able to attribute that traffic that you're getting from your sponsorship.
Awesome. And we have some other questions that I think we'll also answer offline, but I do want to wrap up with this great question from DJ here, which is, what are the key top 3 ways to increase views? If there is just kind of 3 key takeaway points that we can wrap up with, and then we'll close and save back some time for everybody.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So top 3 takeaways from this presentation. If you're interested in increasing the visibility that you're currently seeing with your free profile, consider either a premium or sponsorship options. They'll go ahead and drive qualified traffic from those buyers that are landing on our content through organic search. And that qualified traffic will go ahead and start turning into qualified leads as they browse your website, as they browse your reviews. It's also important to make sure that your profile is up to date. Make sure that you continue adding reviews. That way, more sophisticated buyers can have more information about your company and about your work. And then also take advantage of some of the benefits that are available to our sponsored profiles, including verification and access to our lead matching pool, but also review priority processing. All of our sponsored profiles have their reviews prioritized and they're published within a couple of days. As our review pipeline tends to increase with time, our sponsored profiles will always have their reviews prioritized. So definitely take advantage of that. And that's also going to help with your organic standing on Clutch.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think kind of wrap up here. If you do have other questions, we'll definitely follow up with you by the end of the day, either from the sponsorship team or from your personal account manager if they're more organic questions. But definitely take some time. That link is still in the chat to book a call with our team to make sure we can answer, again, more specific questions, or always feel free to reach out to sponsorship@Clutch.co as well. If you do have non-sponsorship questions, you can reach out to your account manager or just generally our team at Float. But I don't know if Aaron and Ethan, you have some closing words. Keep in mind.
I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. As you said, right, feel free to continue the conversation. If any of the times are not working for your company on that scheduling tool, feel free to reach out to us, and we're also happy to accommodate that time. We do want to get on the phone with all of you to make sure that we're placing your first sponsorship or your existing sponsorship on a page that's going to help drive up traffic so that you could start seeing leads from that sponsorship. But yeah, thank you again.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Really great answering a number of those questions. I think Ben mentioned this, but we're also happy to follow up with any questions we didn't answer in an email, but definitely looking forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you all again, and expect an email from us by probably the next hour or so with a recording of this presentation, another reminder as to where to book a call, and the presentation in a PDF so you can check it out for yourself. Of course, feel free to reply with any questions when we send that email. Thank you all again for attending.